Welcome to Marriage, Let's Talk, hosted by legendary worldwide marriage encounter leader, Father Rosy Rosebrough, featuring Catholic married couples from around the world who demonstrate healthy communication for building better marriages. And now, here's Father Rosy.
Hi, Father Rosy here. I'm glad you could join us today. This podcast is not talking about marriage. It is where we're going to share how to create a better marriage through communicating feelings in authentic ways. I will introduce the couple tonight as Patrick and Jennifer Cheng, who will share a reflection on their feelings about a topic or event in their life. Tonight, it's about how they affirm each other with qualities. They have written love letters to each other, describing their feelings in various ways. Then they will pick one of their feelings, attempting to try to experience the other person's feelings. Going back and forth is what we call dialogue. Sharing one's feelings and exploring them is one of the most intimate ways to communicate with your love of one another. So, Patrick and Jen, how did you feel on the first weekend when you heard that?
I did not, it took me a while to think about qualities because what immediately came to my mind are behaviors, right? And like the things that Patrick would do. And it took me a while to really think about, well, what are actual qualities about a person?
How about you, Patrick?
Yeah, I think the first time, it's funny because I'm with Jennifer. It's like, I think for me, it was like just the ideas were there, but it was kind of like it just sort of trying to like grab hold of something, and trying to like just articulate just one thing, just like so much ideas swimming in my head.
It's interesting that most of the time when somebody says, what are somebody's qualities, I tell them what they do.
Yeah.
Right. Their behavior.
But what is the quality that they're acting out of that, and it's very seldom do couples ever tell each other.
Mm-hmm.
They describe to a friend or at work or somebody that, my wife or my husband, and the quality, you may say a quality, but we necessarily don't tell our spouse. We presume they know that I know.
Right.
And they know that I know.
That they know that I know.
Yeah,
right.
So it's pretty fascinating that when you start doing that, it seems more natural and more affirmative.
Mm-hmm.
Letting my spouse guess, or what quality are they thinking about today?
Yeah.
Gotcha. What subject have you chosen for tonight?
Well, we decided to dialogue on what qualities we appreciate about each other.
Okay.
And then, how do we feel as we kind of write about that?
Yeah.
So, dear Patrick, the qualities I appreciate most about you are your resourcefulness, integrity, humor, loyalty, reliability, and courage. I feel cherished as I write this to you. How is it that you've come to love me and choose me to live our lives together? Mm-hmm. My cherished feeling is like the person finding the pearl of great price and willing to sell the shirt off his back and everything he owned in exchange. Cherished is like unwrapping a fragile vase in layers and layers of bubble wrap so that it will remain safe during transport. I feel cherished whenever you open and hold a door for me to walk through, and whenever you hold my hand when doing everyday things like driving around town. Cherish sounds like a soft whisper of I love you as you kiss my forehead as I drift off to sleep. It feels warm, like being bundled up in the softest fleece blanket as I sip on the steaming hot cocoa you made me on a particularly cold winter day. Love, Jenny.
Dear Jenny, I most appreciate today is your desire to connect with others in general, but more intimately with me and the boys. I see how others seek to connect with you and how they feel seen when you interact with them. But I feel privileged that we get this in a more special way every day. I feel honored thinking about my answer. My honored feeling on an intensity scale is an 8 out of 10. It sounds like an orchestra playing Pomp and Circumstance at the Kennedy Center. My honored feeling is like being thanked by name by someone important as they are giving an acceptance. If it were a color, it would be gold, like a plaque of appreciation. Love, Patrick.
Thanks, honey. Okay, so your feeling is cherished. Now
No,
mine's
yours is
cherished.
cherished, mine is
Honored.
honored. Yes,
Which one should we talk about?
that's good.
Yours is 8. I didn't rate mine.
What do you think? Thinking about it, not keeping my 8 out of 10 in mind, but what do you think yours?
Well, I have to say that when I was describing my cherished feeling, it's a really strong intensity, because I'm just thinking about how we found each other, and then how we grow together. And I don't know, it just hit me very deeply. So for me, it's pretty intense.
Okay. But yeah, I think mine is intense too, because I think as listening to you share, I think for me, as I was sort of trying to think of the qualities that quality, when I see that with other people, it makes me feel, I was thinking of other words to describe how I feel, like privileged or special. But I think that's when it kind of more sort of formed into honored. I feel very honored that we, like boys and I, get to connect with you in a very special way every day. So that feeling's strong too.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not a contest, but I don't know.
Well, I mean, I would like to hear more about
Sure.
feeling.
How wonderful it must feel to feel honored.
Telling you.
I
So
honor you. Yeah.
maybe we can explore yours more.
Sure.
Okay, see if I can feel that honored feeling. Have you mentioned it's kind of like receiving an award on a stage. So is the honored feeling related to being recognized by other people, or not necessarily?
It's interesting because I don't think I would say it's not the feeling of like being given a award on a stage,
Okay.
right? I shared specifically the idea of like someone else, calling me by name who's being on the stage, or somebody's important or someone famous,
I see.
like getting an Oscar and they go, hey, I want to give special thanks to,
I see.
to Patrick, right? Kind of that kind of feeling rather than I'm on the stage or
I
rather than I'm
see.
getting the award. But yeah, that kind of gold plaque color again is more sort of that idea, not so much.
I see. So it's someone who may be the one in the spotlight, but then being recognized by that person.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, and that's how that's how you feel for
Yeah, sure.
me. Okay. Right. Let me think. Let me see. What intensifies that feeling of honored?
Intensifies the feeling.
Yeah. What do you think?
I guess if there's something, I guess something that would be above and beyond sort of our usual interactions with other people. Because I'm thinking like I would feel honored, anytime we have like a dinner party or socializing. And I see you interact with other people. I feel that, but to feel it stronger would have to be something larger, something more than just. So maybe it's like, whatever. You get an award or something, we do together on the weekend.
Well, I'm thinking, do you feel that way when remember how Ian for his Pinewood Derby for Cub Scout.
Mhm.
He won first place for his den meeting, and I know he worked really hard on it, and you worked really hard on it with him. Like, so
He did do a lot.
yeah, he did a lot of work. So, was that an honored feeling when you saw him like holding his award for first place den meeting, and just honored like that you're his dad, and he put in a lot of effort into that activity? Was that a similar feeling? What do you think?
Yeah, it's definitely up there.
Mm.
There's, I don't know, I guess it's interesting because I think there is also a feeling of proud. I'm a
Okay.
proud father, right? I'm proud of him.
Mm.
So happy. I'm so, happy that he's happy.
Yeah.
It's a little different,
Different than the
because I think
honored.
another aspect of it is, right, is when I see people, you connect with people, you talk to people, they just, like I said, they feel so, they just enjoy you so much, right? And they're like, oh, she's so wonderful, and she's so whatever. They just really love it. And when I see that, that makes me feel more honored, right? And more and more,
I see.
right? So it's not exactly like proud, but it's close.
How about, do you feel honored? I'm just thinking how you teach confirmation, like you organize religious education. And this past year, you went to the Basilica for their confirmation.
Right.
And I'm wondering, as I don't think it's on purpose, who knows, but the kids from our parish actually were positioned to sit at the very first pew, right? Yeah. Right, very first pew, and you were there with them. And then I know they also had an opportunity to like privately meet with the cardinal, right? And so, and kind of answer his questions and such. So watching them and getting confirmed and just answering the questions, and do you feel honored in that moment?
Yeah, I think that was more on the scale.
Yeah.
Right. It was it was like we were like front, and then like, so when they got to go in and do the interview with the cardinal, they were like in the front.
Yeah.
And then of course the first and then they did a big picture with all the people there. They all got up on the up front and took a picture, and our kids right in the front. Yeah. I've known these girls since they were babies. Yeah. Right. Known their parents forever.
I mean, I know there's maybe, I don't know, is that more honored than proud? But there's also like just imagine seeing their qualities, right? You say like watching them grow old to this confirmation stage.
Yeah, I think that's what's different than a proud feeling. And the fact that it was, this is such a milestone, a spiritual milestone for them. I think it all kind of culminates, and it makes it more, much more intense. Proud of Ian. Not that Ian's Pinewood Derby wasn't something I'm really cherished, but I think it makes it a little bit more intense.
Spiritual milestone.
Yeah. Jennifer, you're experiencing my feeling of honored.
Thank you guys very, very much.
No problem.
It was interesting. I was watching the nonverbal. No, one of the reasons we're doing the podcast with the video, is that communication of nonverbal is 57% of communication. And the intention and the intensity or our inflections are about 37%. Words themselves are only 7% of communication. And I was watching your arm, Jennifer, go back and forth on his back of his shoulder. And the more intense you got, the more you try to searching for the right word or the right phrase to unlock the gift of the feeling that Patrick had about being honored. It's not proud, and not like this. Your son, you're proud of him with the gift award or so forth, and the connection that they have with you. But it's honored. It's almost the thought that struck me also. It's almost like at your gathering, almost when you hear your name being used, and you want to know what they're talking about.
Right.
And all of a sudden they say, oh, you're here, Patrick. You know what? I was just telling such and such what a great gift you are to our program. And almost it's like hearing the whisper, not to your face, but they're telling somebody else, and how honored you are that you are remembered.
Excuse me. Yes.
Like that. And when you get closer and closer, and Patrick loves to stare up the eyes and trying to get his mind in there, trying to get the right word or the phrase, trying to answer your question. And all of a sudden something sparks and his eyes just light up.
I'm like, yes.
And then you try to describe it with your hands of the awards when your sons were giving their awards, but it's amazing that many people in our, especially couples, they don't appreciate the gift of nonverbal. Remember in the cartoon Roses of Rose many years ago, Pascal was the little boy's name, and he came into the kitchen and mom was washing something at the sink. And I remember he says, Mommy, I want to tell you something. And mom said, go ahead. And she said, no, I want nose listening. I want you to turn around so I can see your nose when I share something with you. I've never forgotten that. I want nose listening. And many times as couples and loved ones, we just say things without even looking at each other, and we miss 57% of the words we just said.
Yeah.
Have you noticed yourselves appreciating nonverbals more?
Definitely.
Yeah. I guess when I think of nonverbals, I think about, as you were describing, sort of this busyness. That touch can be big. We've been leaning on each other. My arm's been pinned back here to hold, so I can't use, both my hands. But so I think for us, when we're busy and we're going about with our getting dinner ready or things, that touch is important.
Yeah.
And that we can connect and communicate with the touch as well, whether it's gentle touch or it's a hey,
right
over here, right? Kind of things. But so nonverbal is key, very important in our stage of life,
Well, because it's so easy to get sucked into the hustle bustle of the day that I think the nonverbals has been a way to communicate love without words. That even in the busyness of the day-to-day, it takes but a second to give a peck on the cheek, right? Or it's only half a second to squeeze him on his hand, and being more intentional about it. That has been certainly something that I've been working on since being more conscious about feelings and sharing and being sensitive. Yeah.
Are the boys sensitive to your touch to each other?
Yes, very much so. I'm very grateful. And I just love it. I love the hugs. They just come and hug me, kiss me, and oh boy, if they see this, they'll be embarrassed.
Right.
But I don't know. I think there's a little bit of that comfort. I think in that they know they can come to me, and if they want a hug, they want a kiss, it'll always be yes. Right. Yeah.
I'm so grateful for the guests we had today who shared willingly themselves in their dialogue. And thank you for joining us. I look forward to the next episode when I join you again once more.
This has been Marriage, Let's Talk, sponsored by Worldwide Marriage Encounter, the foremost faith-inspired marriage enrichment organization in the world, providing married couples with transformative experiences through couples retreats, small groups, and more. Learn to nurture love in your marriage at wwme.org. Marriage, Let's Talk is a production of Mater Media, the apostolate that offers the Celebrate Catholic Marriage experience to energize and fortify married couples through parish events and the 7-step journey to joy. Find out more at matermedia.org.